I could give you a few minutes introduction as to why I got interested in doing this, because it was really motivated by some observations that I had trying to combine practice and teaching in the American setting. Students really could learn a great deal by doing things that were real projects during the time when they were doing their master's or PhD education. But what you needed was a kind of relationship with a faculty member who was in practice to be able to do that. Otherwise, it was just work that you were doing, and that may be of some value. But when you worked with a faculty member, you could be, he could be mentoring and teaching you at the same time that you were doing projects. So that was, and I thought that was a particularly interesting thing to have as a part of an educational process. And so I was going to Penn. The president of Penn called me, and when I went there, she said, she interviewed me first time, and she said, "What would you like to be able to do at Penn?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to create a practice institute." And she said, what would that be? So I described it to her, and I described the way it's done in China and other kinds of places. And so anyway, she said, "I'd be happy to support you in putting together one of those kind of entities, and we'll do it," and so on and so on. And so, in the end, I decided to go to Penn, and so the kind of dream of having this entity, which would allow faculty and students to take on projects, do them in a way that wasn't constrained by all of the university's rules and contracts and all of that kind of stuff, which allowed particularly younger faculty to be able to take on these things, because more established faculty, people like Loyola, had a big office on his own, and he was running, and a number of the architecture faculty had Marion Weiss and others had, their own offices, and they were running. It wasn't going to replace those kinds of things, although I thought we might joint venture with them on things when we needed a large number of outside staff and particular expertise on the thing. And so that was the motivation for doing it. You wouldn't imagine teaching medicine without a hospital, where people studying medicine can actually practice. Why do you imagine doing city planning, teaching city planning, you don't have to have any ties to any entity that has a laboratory, any city has a laboratory for your work?